They say that they are dangerous to man, that their power and hunting skills are to be feared. But if so, why do many people who encounter sharks tell a different story? How on earth can one animal be perceived in such contrasting ways? I'm Sarah Richmond, marine scientist, shark researcher and ocean conservationist. I'm fascinated by sharks and the role they play within the world's ecosystem. I'm going to take you on a journey around Australia, showing you some of the most diverse and amazing marine environments our great country has to offer. We'll be meeting shark experts, shark lovers, and coming face to face with lots of Australia's sharks. Join me as I experience the highs and lows of mankind's interactions with these wondrous creatures. Throughout this epic adventure, I will share with you the story of the shark and uncover the frightening truth about their fight for survival. Last time on Sarah Shark, we dived with critically endangered grey nurse sharks at Wolf Rock and Southwest Rocks. We investigated the different sustainability levels of sharks when used as food, and we took to the streets of the Gold Coast to find out how much the public knew about shark meat. In this episode, I'm heading to North Queensland, where I'll be boarding a boat and heading out into the Coral Sea to dive with reef sharks. The Great Barrier Reef is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and it's right here on our doorstep in Australia. I'm on Mike Ball's vessel, the Spoil Sport, which is one of the premier liveaboard trips departing from Cairns in far north Queensland. We've stopped off here at the Ribbon Reefs to get in a few dives before we depart for the remote Osprey Reef for Mike's signature shark feed. This is Australian dive tourism at its very best. The first night on board the vessel is a meet and greet with the crew and other guests, where we learn about the safety aspects of the trip and go over the itinerary. Then we set our dive gear up on the back deck and turn in for the night to get a good night's sleep ready for the morning's dive. Behind me is one of the most famous dive sites on the Great Barrier Reef, the Cod Hole. Potato cods can reach a massive 2 metres in length and weigh an impressive 100 kilograms. And I'm about to jump in the water and get face to face with them. Within seconds, we see a massive potato cod. This was my first encounter with these big fish, and I'm amazed at how calm and placid he is. I am so mesmerised by the cod. It's a couple of minutes before I glance away from him. When I do, I'm hit by a profusion of colour, and I remember that I'm diving on the Great Barrier Reef. This is the largest reef system in the world, stretching an incredible 2,300 kilometres. There are 3,000 recorded reefs within the Great Barrier Reef, and each one has its own identity and charm. The backbone of any of these reef systems is the coral, the living building blocks that have been here in one form or another for over 500,000 years. With over 400 species of coral, 2,000 fish species, 4,000 molluscs, and 6 of the world's 7 marine turtles living here on the Great Barrier Reef, every dive you have is a new adventure. Down below is a solitary white-tip reef shark patrolling the reef. White-tip reef sharks are small, slender sharks that grow to only 1.5 metres. Unlike a lot of sharks, the white-tip reef shark does not have to consistently swim to breathe. They can lie motionless on the seafloor and pump water over their gills. The white-tip is a night hunter, with the diet usually consisting of fish, crustaceans, and octopus. They are quite skittish by nature and will quickly swim away from approaching divers. We will hopefully see these sharks in action at tomorrow's shark feed. Along with diving with sharks, another one of my passions is diving at night. Everything is just so much more wild and vivid in the dark. You can sweep your torch around and see marine life that you would never see during the day. So I'm going to jump in and have a look. As you descend at night, the dive site that was so familiar during the day is transformed into an unknown alien landscape full of weird and wonderful creatures. We come across a small group of humphead parrotfish. They're usually shy and docile during the day, but the unwanted attention from the camera at night brings on a threat display. Many of the daytime inhabitants of the reef are motionless and hidden away. The night belongs to the hunters. Trevally and red bass stalk the reef. You have to be careful not to shine your light on a fish for too long, otherwise it becomes an easy meal. On the edge of the light fall off, I make out strange green eyes peering out of the darkness. Who knows how many sharks are patrolling just out of sight? Tomorrow they will not be so shy. The mood on the boat before the shark dive is a strange mix of bravado and excitement, underscored with a buzzing energy. As I start to descend into the clear, warm water, my mind relaxes and I see my first shark. It's a grey reef shark. These are impressive-looking sharks with a stocky body, blunt snout and large eyes, and they can reach lengths of up to 2.6 metres. They are listed on the IUCN's Red List as near threatened. They mainly feed on fish and cephalopods, with crabs and lobsters making up the remainder of their diet. I remind myself that this is a wild animal and that I should look out for any change in behaviour. Grey reef sharks are also very curious. They'll swim right up to divers to get a better look and then shoot off at the last minute. This behaviour is non-threatening, but can still get the heart pumping. While we wait for the bait bin to be brought down, I start to absorb as much information as I can. I count as many as 50 sharks in the water. They belong to two main species, white-tip reef sharks and grey reef sharks. More interesting than the number of sharks is the fact that I cannot spot one male shark. They all appear to be females. The bait bin enters the water and the sharks start to circle around it above our heads. It's a breathtaking sight. As the bait bin reaches the pinnacle, the trip director, Kieran, repositions the bin a couple of metres in front of us. The sharks are definitely more alert now, and the smell of the bait has brought them in so close you could reach out and touch them. It's fascination, not fear, that has a hold of me. This is insane. Sharks bump the bin and slide over each other. They mingle with the divers, but I don't feel threatened in any way. They pay us no attention whatsoever. The bait is released. There's a sudden snap in tempo as the sharks enter a feeding frenzy. There's a frenetic blur of grey and white, raw energy and power cutting through the water. We all pay witness to the wild nature of the sharks. As quick as it began, the feed is over, and instantly you feel the sharks relax and start to calmly cruise again. With so many divers and sharks in the water, it really is a testament to these wondrous animals that even in the throes of a feeding frenzy, they were able to discern their prey from us. We were just not on their menu. Mike Ball's Dive Expeditions also offers an exclusive private shark encounter. The team felt extremely privileged when Mike offered us a couple of spots. Descending this time was a solo experience, just hanging out in the blue on my way to see the sharks. It was a small bait box this time, and we'd been told that in groups of 2, we'd be able to approach the pinnacle and get within a few metres of the bait. This is a moment in time I'll never forget. The sharks swirling all around me. I felt extremely humbled by nature. All of a sudden, I spotted a larger shark gliding into view. It was a silver-tip shark. These are wonderful apex predators that can grow up to 3 metres in length. She hung around for a while, keeping her distance. An amazing animal to behold. This topped off the shark dive experience. Running low on air and time, I reluctantly returned to the surface.
Oh my god, that was absolutely out of this world. It was incredible, especially when I got to get up really, really close. And then sharks can almost buzz you, but it was just sort of like they'd come close, but still not close enough to bump into you or anything. There was a few that went straight over my head. Without a doubt, one of the coolest things I have ever done.
On the last night aboard Spoil Sport, the crew throw a fantastic barbecue where songs are sung, tales of the trip are recounted, and new friendships are forged. We depart the boat at Lizard Island and catch a low-flying charter plane back to Cairns. Sadly, we leave far north Queensland and head home, where I'll continue my research into sharks as food. I know there are levels of methyl mercury found in seafood, and I want to show you exactly how this mercury enters the food chain and what health risks it poses. Mercury is a naturally occurring heavy metal that is toxic to humans. The vast majority of mercury that ends up in the ocean comes from the burning of fossil fuels and waste. When it enters the atmosphere as vapour, it is classified as inorganic mercury. The majority of mercury enters the ocean via rain, as it falls from the atmosphere or runoff from the land. It is in the ocean where tiny microorganisms absorb the mercury, changing it from inorganic mercury to the organic methyl mercury. This is where it enters the food chain. Small fish eat these tiny microorganisms. The more they eat, the more mercury builds up in their bodies, faster than it can be eliminated. This process is called bioaccumulation. When these small fish are eaten by larger predators, all the mercury again passes from prey to predator and continues to accumulate. The higher up the food chain, the higher the amount of mercury found, especially among fish with long lifespans. Sharks tend to be close to or at the top of the ocean's food chains, so we find very high levels in these animals. As we consume seafood, any methyl mercury found in the fish is then passed on to us. In humans, methyl mercury has a half-life of 50 days. This means it will take nearly 2 months for half of the mercury from one meal to leave the body. Bioaccumulation of methyl mercury can cause health problems in adults. However, it is the pregnant women and young children who are most at risk. Methyl mercury is passed from the mother to the unborn fetus and has been linked to development problems such as loss of IQ, language and memory skills, and attention deficiencies.
On the last episode of Sarah Shark, we purchased various types of seafood here on the Gold Coast, which included 3 types of flake. I wanted to get this seafood tested for levels of methylmercury and compare these levels to what various food organisations list as an acceptable and safe level to eat.
On our graph, the blue line represents the tolerable weekly intake level of methylmercury for men, and the pink line represents methylmercury levels for women. The 3 shark or ray species commonly sold as flake contain levels of methylmercury well above the guidelines, and over 3 times above in the case of the hammerhead shark. In this episode, I was privileged enough to dive at one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and whilst there, I had the most electrifying dive experience, being in the water with more than 50 feeding sharks. The words of Mike Ball still resonate with me. Due to its unprotected status, the shark population at Osprey Reef could be fished out within a few days. Dive tourism on the Great Barrier Reef brings in over $1 billion per year, and many of these dollars are spent on shark encounters. But more importantly, I found a common thread that runs through all the scuba divers I've met. We all share an appreciation of the environment, a respect for life, and recognition of the importance of conservation. Every new diver I meet truly does become an inspiration to me, giving me hope that one day we can all learn to share the seas.